Hey everyone, my name is Matthew and welcome to MatthewsBack.com. Here at MatthewsBack.com I'm documenting my recovery from my back injury and I am documenting my comeback, as it were. I have a disc protrusion which, in the global scheme of things, is not going to kill me, and it is on the mend and I'm getting back into and to my normal self. Part of my resting and recovering is, the keyword there is resting, and there is no better place to rest than in Jamieson. Jamieson is a little town in central Victoria, about 3 hours drive from Melbourne, and I am fortunate enough that my father-in-law, who passed away relatively recently, has a holiday house here. So while my wife and two wonderful daughters are away overseas, I thought I'd come to Jamieson and just breathe in the oxygen, listen to the birds, watch the river go by and walk. Walking is apparently a good exercise to do for lower back injuries. So I'll take you on a bit of a tour of Jamieson, my happy place. Jamieson is obviously a tidy town, but apart from that, it's about 3 hours drive from Melbourne in Australia, and it was big in the gold rush era in the 1850s or thereabouts. Right now it's very, very small, but it's in a beautiful little valley called the Jamieson Valley, but there's heaps of little houses just like this one, and I'll show you a few more. Okay, so Jamieson was quite a big thriving town apparently in the 1860s and 1870s. So behind me is the Jamieson Hall, which was built apparently in 1883. In the 1850s and 60s it was all tents and wooden structures, but the permanent buildings started to arrive in the 70s and 80s. So 1883 for the hall, and just going the main street here, over the road behind me is the Jamieson Post Office, and the post office was built in 1872. Jamieson General Store. If you're passing through, say hi to Leanne and Wayne. Looking back down Main Road, Jamieson, post office on the left, hall on the right, beautiful mountains in the background. If you're interested in the infamous history of Ned Kelly, this printing press here in Jamieson was used to print the now famous wanted dead or alive posters. Wanted £2,000 for the capture of Ned Kelly and his gang. Printed on this little machine here. Okay, so the original Courthouse Hotel here in Jamieson was built in 1864 or thereabouts, but sadly it burnt down in the early 1980s, and we've got the current version here now. But there's been a pub here since the 1860s. Okay, the Catholic Church here in Jamieson. There's been a church here since the early 1860s, but this current building, built around about the turn of the century, 1890, 1895 or thereabouts. So here is the original Jamieson Courthouse, built in 1864. It's now used as a museum. Another little miner's cottage here in Jamieson. I like this little old miner's cottage, the combination of the old and the new with the satellite dish on the top. I'm sure the TV reception's great in there, as it probably was in the 1860s. Another of the original buildings here in Jamieson. This allegedly was the butcher and the baker round about the 1860s, 1870s. And again, I do like the satellite dish to just offset the oldness of the building. So here's the old Anglican church, built in 1865. Some king parrots flying past. So here we are at the Jamieson Primary School, built in 1865. The 1860s were a particularly busy period here in Jamieson. My wife's mother and her uncle and aunt went to this school. Back in the 1860s and 70s there were a couple of hundred kids who went to this school, but fast forward to now, there's only about 12 students, roughly 2 kids per year level. There's 2 teachers, 12, 15 kids. As far as I understand, Jamieson Primary School is the second longest continuous school, certainly in Victoria and possibly even Australia, given it first opened in 1865 and has been a school ever since. Jamieson is filled with beautiful old houses, and this one is my brother-in-law and sister-in-law's house. It was originally built in the 1890s by my wife and her brother, by their great-grandfather Martin McQuilton. And Martin McQuilton and my father-in-law and my great-father-in-law, my grandfather-in-law. Anyway, the in-laws are all up at the cemetery, which is sort of up over that hill, just over there. Walking while engaging my core is good for my back. And there is no better place than to be walking around Jamieson. Not far now. Not sure if you can hear them, but down in that little pond down there are pobblebonk frogs. Around Jamieson there's heaps of kangaroos, especially in the early morning and the dawn and the dusk. Got to be careful when you're driving, especially in the evening and late at night too. Lots of kangaroos. Watch out for wombats. They'll do some damage to your car. What a great place for a picnic. Okay, I'm not sure if you can read the sign above me, but I'm at the Jamieson Brewery and it's shut. I've walked 3 kilometres out of Jamieson purely to come and have a beer at the Jamieson Brewery, and it's shut. So I guess I had 2 goals today. 1 was to make this video, and 2 was to have a beer at the Jamieson Brewery. Never mind, I'll walk back now. Oh, the irony. I'm finding that beer is helping my sore back, but I guess I can't have one right now this second, but I'll see you soon. Now, it's a bit hard to tell, but this hill behind me is littered with mine shafts. This river in the 1860s and 1870s was chock-a-block full of miners all panning for gold, and up in the hill behind me there's hundreds and hundreds of mine shafts. If you're wandering around up there, you actually have to be a bit careful and watch where you step, because it's easy to fall in the holes. Another view of the Jamieson River. Great place to paddle and swim again in the summer, and there are platypuses in there. I've seen a few of them over the 20 or so years that I've been coming here, and my wife's seen quite a few over the 40 odd years that she's been coming here. See, I told you there was platypuses. Part of the attraction here at Jamieson is the river, and in the summer this is an awesome swimming hole. Here now at the beginning of spring there's not too many people, but the fish in the river is good fishing, and it's certainly excellent swimming because it gets quite hot here on summer's days. Just beautiful, just beautiful. I've mentioned it before, but I'll say it again. Jamieson is my happy place. The oxygen, the sounds, the smells, beautiful. Very quiet, very peaceful, very relaxing. Great place for a walk when you've got a sore back. The river, the birds, beautiful. The water's up quite high at the moment because it's the end of winter, beginning of spring. But in the summer there's quite a lot of rocks here which make for excellent paddling. Now, with a little bit of luck, the reason I've come down here at this late stage of the day, the light's fading, but there are a lot of kookaburras around here. So we'll see how we go. We may or may not hear some kookaburras, but we'll keep our ears out. Hold that thought. Okay, here down near the fork in the river, there are a lot of birds. And of course, now that I've turned the camera on, they've all shut up. Now that I'm here in the fork in the river, there's no kookaburras. I was hoping there would. There's usually heaps of kookaburras in the trees all around me at this time of the day. Towards the end of the day, the light's fading. Well, there's somebody up there, but it's not a kookaburra. But just here behind me, under this tree behind me, it's a bit hard to see, but in the water there is a rock. and in the summer when the river's down, that rock is exposed, and it is an awesome place, a beautiful place to sit and read a book. Feet in the water with a beer and a book. Fantastic. Have I mentioned I love it here at Jamieson? I might have. Okay, I've done enough walking, my back's starting to hurt. I'm going to go and have a lie down in a minute. But it is really nice here, and I'm finding the calm and the tranquility at the risk of sounding just a little bit strange. It's really nice here. I like it a lot. But the time has come for a little lie down. Heading back. And back to Grandad's house. Sulphur-crested cockatoos here in Jamieson. Sulphur-crested cockatoos with the yellow hats, and the other guys are called corellas. Kookaburra there on the table. Crimson Rosella. King parrots. The one with the orange head is the male. The one with the green head is a female. So that about concludes my quick little tour of Jamieson in central Victoria, about 3 hours drive from Melbourne. Once again, my name is Matthew, and thank you for visiting MatthewsBack.com. And I'm going to have this beer now because this is the one I didn't get to have at the Jamieson Brewery, which is about 3 kilometres in that direction. Anyway, thank you once again. My name is Matthew, MatthewsBack.com. Cheers. Thanks.